Before we step into this moment, I want you to still your spirit and lean in, not casually, not halfway, but with the full expectation that God is about to speak directly into the atmosphere of your life. There is a prophetic urgency stirring in the realm of the spirit, and I feel it pulling on you, drawing you into alignment with what heaven has already prepared before the 20th of February arrives. Hold on for a moment. If you believe Jesus is working behind the scenes for you, subscribe now and step into this prophetic atmosphere in His mighty name. God is positioning you, recalibrating you, and opening 5 distinct financial doors that your hands, your mind, and your future have been prepared to steward. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration. As you listen, I want you to treat every word as a seed, because what you're about to hear carries the power to transform the economic trajectory of your life. Some of you have been stretched, tested, pressed, and pushed to the very edges of your emotional and financial capacity. But hear me, the pressure you've been feeling is the signature of breakthrough. The enemy has tried to convince you that delay meant denial, but God says the delay was development. Heaven has been working behind the scenes, aligning resources, people, opportunities, and instructions that are about to meet you right where you are. Before February 20th, 5 doors, 5 supernatural, strategic, uncommon doors will swing open. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because favor has found your name and grace is rewriting your story. So lift your faith, stir your expectancy, set your spirit in receiving mode, because what God is about to release over you requires a posture of bold belief. If you are ready for God to open these financial doors, activate your faith right now. Like this video, subscribe for daily prophetic prayers, and write Amen in the comments. Then declare one thing you are believing God for. Let your declaration rise as a witness that you are stepping into a new financial dimension. There is a stillness that comes over the room when God begins to move in a direction that is intentional, precise, and time-sensitive. As we lean into this first keynote, allow your spirit to settle into calm expectation. There is no rush, no pressure, no fear, only a quiet unfolding of what God has already spoken concerning your life. When I say that God is aligning 5 strategic financial doors to open before February 20th, I am not speaking from hype. I am speaking from spiritual knowing. Even now, movements are happening behind the veil of the natural realm. Shifts, alignments, decisions, and conversations you are not privy to, but that are directly connected to your breakthrough. These 5 doors are not random blessings. They are targeted access points leading to long-term transformation. God is not interested in temporary relief. He is positioning you for sustained elevation. One door may come through a person, another through an idea, another through a shift in environment, another through divine interruption, another through supernatural release. Before February 20th, expect timing to become significant. Not because the date has mystical power, but because God marks seasons. He places a window before you and says, prepare yourself. Prepare your mindset. Prepare your environment. Prepare your habits. Prepare your spiritual posture. God never opens a door you are unprepared to handle. He develops you before He delivers you. The pressure you've felt lately, it wasn't destruction. It was refinement. Financial doors cannot open in the presence of internal disorganization. God has been pruning you so you can carry what He is releasing. You cannot step into expansion with a survival mindset. You cannot receive strategic opportunities with scattered habits. You cannot sustain abundance with lack-based thinking. So He's been working on you quietly. Conversations that woke you up. Delays that taught patience. Challenges that built resilience. Unexpected blessings that restored hope. Every moment has been alignment for what is coming before February 20th. There is a door of revelation coming, an idea that shifts your trajectory. There is a relational door coming, kingdom connections that carry access. There is a door of restoration, what was lost being returned better and stronger. There is a door of correction, habits shifting, wisdom increasing. And there is a supernatural door, unexpected favor that bypasses logic. All 5 are already in motion. Delays were not denial, they were divine development. Heaven does not waste time, it invests it. Every slow season built capacity. Every closed door built character. Every waiting season strengthened your foundation. Before February 20th, you will begin to understand why things had to unfold the way they did. Favor is locating you. Favor is not random, favor is intentional. Favor knows your name, your address, your sacrifices, and your timeline, and it is repositioning your financial trajectory. Where you are headed is not where you will end up. Favor bends timelines. Favor accelerates access. Favor introduces strategic connections. Favor multiplies what your hands release. Some things won't change because you work harder. They will change because favor begins to blow behind you. God is orchestrating people, resources, and opportunities even now. Conversations are happening where your name is being mentioned with honor. Resources are being released. Systems are shifting. Doors are loosening. Before February 20th, alignment will become visible. But here is where your participation matters. Activate your faith. Faith is not noise. It is posture. It is alignment. It is preparation before manifestation. When you prepare before you see, you declare that you believe. Clear mental clutter. Organize what needs structure. Speak differently. Think strategically. Stay spiritually awake. Obedience unlocks what faith believes. If God opened a major financial door for you this week, would you be ready? Answer that honestly in your heart. If yes, stay aligned. If not, declare, God, prepare me for what you are sending. Receiving is a skill. Many know how to pray, few know how to receive. Release guilt, release fear, release limitation. Make room. You cannot receive with closed hands. Something has shifted in you as you listened. Not dramatically, but deeply. Like a key turning quietly inside a locked door. Peace has settled. Expectation has risen. Alignment has begun. Before February 20th, you will see evidence. Small signs first. Unexpected favor. A yes where there was once a no. A connection that feels divinely timed. An opportunity that carries peace. Heaven is moving. Take a deep breath and let gratitude rise. Gratitude for what God has done. Gratitude for what He is doing. Gratitude for what is on the way. You are stepping into clarity, into provision, into elevation, into supernatural unfolding. Seal this moment with action. Like the video, subscribe for daily prayers. Write amen in the comments and declare one thing you are believing God for before February 20th. You are aligned. You are prepared, you are positioned, and 5 doors are about to open instead of leaning on human logic. When your plans fail, when your predictions fall apart, when your timelines collapse, God steps in and says, now that your hands are empty, I can fill them properly. Divine development often begins at the end of personal striving. Think back to the seasons where you felt stuck, those moments where progress seemed to halt, where you prayed and nothing shifted, where you tried and doors remained closed. Look deeper, not at the frustration of the delay, but at the transformation that occurred within you during that time. Perhaps your patience grew, perhaps your faith deepened, perhaps you learned to budget better, plan better, think better, or pray better. Perhaps you discovered a strength you didn't know you had. Perhaps you became more resilient. Perhaps you stopped settling for things that were beneath your calling. Perhaps you learned to let go. Perhaps you realized your worth. Every lesson you picked up in the delay was part of your development. God does not deny what He has destined. He only delays what must be developed. The delay was not a spiritual punishment. It was a spiritual investment. God was investing in your character, your mindset, your maturity, your emotional stability, your spiritual foundation. He was preparing you so that when the 5 financial doors opened, you would not crumble under the weight of the blessing. He was developing your ability to recognize opportunity, to handle increase, to sustain success, and to navigate responsibility. Blessings without preparation become burdens. And God loves you too much to give you something prematurely. Many of you are being protected during your delays. You thought you were ready to step into new opportunities, but the people connected to those opportunities were not ready for you. Their intentions, their integrity, or their character would have harmed you had the door opened earlier. Sometimes God delays to expose people. He allows time to reveal motives, to unravel unhealthy connections, and to detach you from relationships that cannot go where you are going. The delay preserved your purpose. It shielded your destiny. It protected what God is building in your life. And there were moments where you asked, why isn't this happening for me yet? You compared yourself to others, assuming God had moved faster for them, not realizing that you were not on the same assignment. Comparison is the enemy of development. You cannot measure your timeline by someone else's journey. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. God does not rush masterpieces, and the work He is doing in you requires precision. Every part of your journey has been intentional. Even the parts that felt like detours were actually divine rerouting. There is beauty in delay when you look at it through the lens of destiny. It teaches you to trust the process, to trust the God behind the process, and to trust the future He is shaping for you. When you stop fighting the delay and start learning from it, peace begins to settle in your spirit. You realize that God was not ignoring you. He was preparing you. You realize He was not withholding from you. He was strengthening you. You realize He was not blocking your progress. He was aligning your path. Because before He opens a financial door for you, He opens a deeper level of wisdom within you. Before He increases your resources, He increases your capacity. Before He blesses you externally, He develops you internally. Divine development often happens in silence and isolation, in the unseen places where your faith is stretched and your patience is refined. These are the places where God does His best work. He removes the distractions. He slows down the noise. He brings you face to face with parts of yourself you've ignored. He reshapes your attitudes, refines your desires, and strengthens your inner man. And this spiritual craftsmanship becomes the very structure that supports your next level. The delays you faced were also invitations to draw nearer to God, invitations to re-examine your habits, invitations to grow, invitations to release what no longer served you, invitations to trust beyond your understanding. Every delay brought with it an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, more stable, and more spiritually grounded, and you accepted those invitations, sometimes without even realizing it. Every time you chose hope instead of despair, you were developing. Every time you prayed instead of panicking, you were developing. Every time you held on to faith when circumstances contradicted your promise, you were developing. Every moment of endurance built the spiritual muscle required to sustain the blessings ahead. What you call delay, heaven calls preparation. What you saw as waiting, heaven saw as training. What felt like stagnation was actually elevation in disguise. God was lifting you internally so He could lift you externally. And now, as the alignment of those 5 financial doors approaches, you will begin to see why things had to happen the way they did. Nothing was wasted. No season was pointless. No pain was empty. Every delay served a purpose, and that purpose is now becoming clear. The development has positioned you for doors you once did not have the strength, the clarity, or the maturity to handle. And as those doors open, you will realize that God did not take anything from you. He prepared you to receive more than you imagined. There is a gentle strength that fills the atmosphere when you begin to realize that the favor of God is not something you chase. It is something that finds you when the time is right. And as we step into this third keynote, I want you to let that truth settle softly over your spirit like warm light breaking through a long night. Favor is not random. Favor is not accidental. Favor is not selective in the way people are selected. Favor is intentional. Favor is targeted. Favor knows your name, your address, your assignment, your struggles, your prayers, your sacrifices, and your timeline. When I tell you that favor is locating you and repositioning your financial trajectory, I am speaking into the very core of who you are, into the part of you that has wondered if your effort mattered, if your prayers were heard, if your faith was seen, if your endurance was worth it. Yes, it was, because favor responds to faithfulness. Favor has a way of showing up when everything else feels exhausted. When your strength feels worn, favor steps in. When your resources feel depleted, favor steps in. When your opportunities seem limited, favor steps in. Favor does not need a perfect situation. It needs a willing vessel. And you have been willing to keep going, willing to keep believing, willing to keep hoping, willing to keep praying, willing to keep standing, even when disappointment tried to buckle your knees. Favor is drawn to that kind of resilience, that kind of faith, that kind of spiritual posture. You didn't endure for nothing. You didn't pray for nothing. You didn't hold on for nothing. Favor saw it all and has been moving toward you quietly but powerfully. Repositioning is a deep word. It means God is shifting you from one state of being into another. He is shifting your financial trajectory, not just giving you temporary blessings, but changing the direction and momentum of your entire financial future. Trajectories determine outcomes. And in this season, God is bending the arc of your future upward. Where you were headed is not where you will end up. What seemed inevitable is being rewritten. What looked limited is being expanded. Favor alters the path. Favor bends the laws. Favor accelerates timelines. Favor creates openings in places that were once closed. Favor introduces people you could not have met on your own. Favor gives you access to rooms your qualifications could not enter. Favor multiplies what your hands release. Favor turns scarcity into unexpected abundance. There are moments in life when you don't need more effort, you need more favor. And that is exactly what God is releasing over you. Some things in your life will not change because you work harder. They will change because the wind of favor begins to blow behind you. When favor breathes on your finances, you begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You see solutions where you once saw impossible walls. You see divine timing unfold in ways that exceed strategy, planning, or logic. Favor is heaven's endorsement. It is God saying, I am with you in this. I am supporting you in this. I am backing you in this. And many of you are entering a season where favor is going to make up for the years you felt overlooked. Favor is going to make up for the moments you were undervalued. Favor is going to make up for the doors that closed without explanation. Favor is going to make up for the opportunities you lost to circumstances beyond your control. Favor is going to realign what life attempted to derail. When God releases favor, it doesn't just push you forward. It redeems the time behind you. It recovers the value of every tear, every setback, every disappointment. Nothing you went through will be wasted. Favor repurposes pain. It transforms losses into lessons, lessons into wisdom, and wisdom into elevation. And favor is not coming alone. It is bringing clarity. With it, it is bringing strategy. With it, it is bringing insight. With it, when your financial trajectory shifts, your mindset shifts as well. You begin to think differently about money, work, opportunity, relationships, purpose, and stewardship. You begin to recognize the difference between distraction and assignment. You begin to discern which doors are God's doors and which doors are traps. Favor sharpens your discernment. It recalibrates your decision making. It awakens you to possibilities you were previously blinded to by stress, fear, or lack. Some of you have been living under a shadow of limitation, not because you are incapable, but because circumstances taught you to shrink. Life conditioned you to expect little. People conditioned you to settle. But favor is enlarging your capacity to believe again. It is stretching your vision. It is reminding you that God's plans for you were never small, never narrow, never fragile. You were created for impact. You were created for expansion. You were created to handle more than you have ever handled before. And favor is calling you into that reality. Repositioning also means relocation, not always physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial relocation. Some of you are being moved out of cycles of poverty into cycles of productivity, out of cycles of mismanagement into cycles of wisdom, out of cycles of fear-based decisions into cycles of faith-based action, out of environments where your gifts were suppressed into environments where your gifts will flourish. Favor relocates you. It lifts you into rooms where your voice is valued. It places you into circles where your potential is recognized. It shifts you out of seasons of stagnation into seasons of momentum. This repositioning is already happening in the spirit even before you see it in the natural. You may feel discomfort right now. Like something is moving inside you, like desires are changing, like priorities are rearranging, like certain things don't fit anymore. That discomfort is not confusion, it is spiritual stretching. It is God preparing you for the elevation connected to the favor that is finding you. Every time God repositions you, he expands you first. He stretches your faith, your vision, your understanding, your expectations, because new levels require new lenses. And now I want to ask you a question, one that will require honesty, vulnerability, and reflection. If God's favor were to open a major financial door for you this week, would you be ready to walk through it with confidence, discipline, and wisdom? Truly think about that. Because the door is coming, the shift is coming, the favor is already on its way. Your answer matters not to me, but to your own spirit. I want you to go into the comments and write your answer. Not a long explanation, just your answer, yes or no. And if your answer is no, write this declaration instead. God, prepare me for what you are sending. Favor is not delayed. It is not uncertain. It is not hesitant. It is moving toward you with intention. You may not see the full picture yet, but it is unfolding piece by piece. You may not feel fully qualified, but favor qualifies you. You may not know how every detail will come together, but favor orchestrates what you cannot. You may not know who God will use, but favor works through willing vessels. You may not know how quickly the ship will come, but favor accelerates what was once stagnant. There is a softness to this season, a gentle grace that is resting on your efforts, your ideas, your hands. Things that were difficult will begin to ease. Conversations that were stuck will begin to move. Opportunities that were hidden will begin to appear. You will notice small signs of favor first, a yes where there was once a no, a connection that feels divinely timed, a solution that appears unexpectedly, a burden that lifts without explanation. Pay attention to these signs. They are indicators that the trajectory of your financial life is turning. And as favor locates you, it will also protect you. God is not only elevating you, he is shielding you from what could hinder your elevation. Some doors will remain closed because they are beneath the level God is calling you to. Some relationships will fade because they cannot carry the weight of your next season. Some opportunities will dissolve because they would have diverted your destiny. This too is favor. Favor is not only addition, it is subtraction. It removes what could sabotage your future. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. Heaven has been preparing a ship for you, and now favor is aligning with your name, your purpose, and your next level. You are stepping into a season of divine repositioning where your financial story begins to change direction. The small beginnings, the quiet faithfulness, the hidden sacrifices, God saw them all, and favor is responding. You are moving from survival into stability, from stability into strength, from strength into overflow. And even now, as you listen, something inside you knows this is true. Something in your spirit recognizes that this is not just encouragement, it is confirmation. You are being positioned for more, prepared for more, entrusted with more. Favor has found you, and it is shifting everything connected to you. There is a quiet movement in the unseen places of your life, a divine orchestration happening in realms you cannot touch with your hands or measure with your logic. And as we lean into this fourth keynote, I want you to let your breath soften and your heart open, because this is where the mystery of God's faithfulness becomes personal. When I say that heaven is orchestrating people, resources, and opportunities on your behalf, I'm not speaking poetically, I'm speaking spiritually. God is arranging details you didn't even know needed arranging. He is preparing pathways you didn't know existed. He is sending help that you didn't know you needed, aligning conversations you didn't know were happening, and positioning people you haven't even met yet in the quiet. God is constructing the future you prayed for. There is something comforting about knowing that you do not walk through life alone. Even when you feel isolated, misunderstood, or overlooked, heaven is not silent. Heaven is active. The Spirit of God is constantly working on the canvas of your life, applying strokes of grace, strokes of mercy, strokes of favor, strokes of divine alignment. Nothing about your journey is accidental. The people who entered your life, the ones who left, the ones who stayed, the ones who blessed you, the ones who challenged you, all of them played a role in shaping the environment necessary for your next breakthrough. But now God is sending a new wave of alignment, new people, new voices, new connections, new opportunities, new access points. Each one is part of the orchestration, part of a divine composition written with your destiny in mind. Have you ever noticed how certain people appear at the perfect time? How an opportunity shows up just when you felt like giving up? How a conversation leads to clarity you had been praying for? These moments are not coincidence. They are confirmation that heaven has been moving all along. God uses people like bridges, connecting you to places you could not reach on your own. Sometimes he sends mentors to instruct you. Sometimes he sends supporters to encourage you. Sometimes he sends challengers to strengthen you. Sometimes he sends dreamers to inspire you. And sometimes he sends warriors to help you fight spiritual battles that you were never meant to fight alone. Every person heaven sends serves a purpose. They help position you for the doors God intends to open. And then there are resources, unexpected, unplanned, and often unconventional. Resources are not limited to money. They can be opportunities, information, connections, wisdom, creativity, open doors, or simply the right idea at the right moment. God is a master of resource distribution. He knows what you need, how much you need, and when you need it. He knows how to get provision into your hands even when circumstances make it look impossible. He knows how to send exactly what is required to move you into your next season. Some resources will come through people, others will come through revelation. Some will flow through unexpected channels. Others will appear in the form of new strength, new inspiration, or new strategy. God is not limited to earthly systems. Heaven has its own economy, its own timing, its own supply chain. Whatever you lack, God already has prepared. Opportunity is another instrument God uses in his orchestration. Opportunity is not always loud. It doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes it appears quietly, disguised as a simple task or a small step. Sometimes it comes in the form of a challenge that pushes you into growth. Sometimes it arrives through a conversation you didn't plan to have. Opportunity is heaven's invitation to step into a higher dimension of purpose. And before December 10th, God is aligning opportunities that will connect directly to your financial shift. Some may look intimidating at first, but they are wrapped in favor. Some may seem too simple, but they carry long-term potential. Some may require faith, but they will yield harvest. God is not just opening one door. He is aligning an ecosystem of support around you. People you haven't met yet are already being prepared to say yes to you. Systems are adjusting to make room for you. Policies are shifting to accommodate your progress. Conversations are happening in rooms where your name is being mentioned with honor. Some blessings are already on their way, moving toward you like waves drawn to the shore. You may not see the movement yet, but you can feel the stirring. Your spirit senses that change is near. What is beautiful about divine orchestration is that God does not require your permission to begin. He only requires your willingness to receive. When you surrender your timeline, your expectations, your fears, and your logic, you create space for God's supernatural alignment to flow unhindered. It is in these moments of surrender that the orchestration becomes visible. You start to notice small signs, doors that begin to crack open, people who begin to show interest, ideas that begin to form, clarity that begins to appear. These signs are spiritual breadcrumbs leading you toward manifestation. Sometimes God orchestrates through separation. He removes people who no longer align with your purpose. He closes doors that once brought comfort but no longer contribute to your growth. He ends seasons that you try to cling to. All of this is part of the divine arrangement. You cannot receive new alignment while clinging to old attachments. God is making room in your relationships, room in your mind, room in your finances, room in your spirit for what he is sending. And though the process of letting go can feel painful, it is often the first step to divine orchestration. And there is timing. Timing is crucial. Timing is God's signature. You can have the right idea at the wrong time and it will not flourish. You can meet the right person too early and the connection will not bear fruit. God's orchestration is not just about alignment, it is about timing. There is a reason this financial shift is coming before December 10th. There's a reason God is prompting you to prepare. There is a reason your spirit feels expectant. Heaven is aligning the timing with the assignment. Everything is being synchronized. Divine orchestration also brings peace, not because everything makes sense, but because you begin to trust the one who is arranging it. You don't have to understand every detail. You don't have to figure out every step. You don't have to carry the burden of control. God is the conductor and your life is the symphony. All you need to do is remain sensitive to his leading. When he nudges you to move, move. When he nudges you to wait, wait. When he nudges you to speak, speak. When he nudges you to release, release. The orchestration requires your obedience, but the outcome is his responsibility. Some of you have been trying to orchestrate your life on your own, forcing doors open, chasing validation, relying on your own strength, trying to push outcomes into existence. But this season is different. This season is about surrender. This season is about alignment. This season is about letting God do what only God can do. You are not stepping into this breakthrough by striving. You are stepping into it by flowing. Flowing with his direction, flowing with his timing, flowing with his guidance. Even now, as you listen, God is arranging the next steps. Heaven is setting the stage. The right people are being moved into position. The right opportunities are being prepared. The right resources are being released. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And the orchestration is unfolding in perfect order. You will soon look back and realize that every connection, every redirection, every delay, every closed door, every yes, every no, every detour was part of a divine design leading you to where God intended all along. Heaven has been working for you, not against you, preparing you, not punishing you, aligning you, not abandoning you. Even when you couldn't see the movement, there was movement. Even when you couldn't feel progress, there was progress. Even when nothing made sense, the orchestration made sense. And soon it will all come together into a beautiful unveiling of God's faithfulness in your financial life, your spiritual life, and your destiny. There is a soft, reassuring comfort that enters the room when you begin to understand that you were never meant to walk into God's promises passively. You step into them by faith. Faith that is active, attentive, and willing to stretch beyond what your eyes see. And as we enter this fifth keynote, let your heart grow still and your spirit become receptive, because this is where your participation in the unfolding of your breakthrough becomes essential. When I say that you must activate your faith and posture yourself to receive what God is releasing, I am speaking to something deep within you, something that has been stirring, rising, trying to awaken again after seasons of disappointment and delay. Your next level is not only about what God is doing for you, it is also about what you are willing to believe, prepare for, and step into. Faith is not noise. Faith is not frantic emotion. Faith is alignment, your spirit aligning with the truth of what God has spoken, even when your circumstances seem to contradict it. Faith is a posture. Faith is a decision. Faith is an atmosphere you create around your life. When you activate your faith, you open the door for heaven's movement to flow unhindered into your situation. It is impossible to receive what you have not prepared your heart to believe for. And many times, the breakthrough God sends can be standing right in front of a person, but the posture of their heart prevents them from recognizing it. Faith sharpens recognition. Faith awakens awareness. Faith expands capacity. There is a certain calmness that comes with deep faith, not the surface level faith that depends on good days and smooth circumstances, but the kind of faith that has been tested, stretched, and matured. The kind of faith that grew roots during seasons when nothing seemed to change. The kind of faith that learned to trust God, not because life was easy, but because God was faithful, even when life was not. This faith is not loud. It is steady. It is not anxious. It is anchored. It is not fragile. It is fortified. This is the faith you are being invited to step into now. The faith that prepares you to receive the 5 financial doors God is opening for you. Faith requires preparation. Preparation is a prophetic action. When you prepare for something before you see it, you declare with your actions that you believe God will do what he said. Preparation creates space. Preparation organizes your life in expectation. Preparation sends a signal to heaven that you are ready for increase. For some, activating faith might mean clearing mental clutter, letting go of doubt, fear, or limiting beliefs that have suffocated your expectations. For others, it may mean organizing finances, building disciplined planning with wisdom, or saying yes to opportunities that previously felt intimidating. For others still, it may mean letting go of excuses and stepping boldly into the unknown. Faith does not just feel, it moves. Sometimes activating your faith means speaking differently. Words create atmosphere. Words either build expectation or dismantle it. When you speak in alignment with God's promises, you reinforce your spiritual posture. When you speak words of doubt, fear, or defeat, you weaken that posture. Your faith must be expressed not only through what you believe internally, but through what you declare outwardly. Speak over your life. Speak over your finances. Speak over your opportunities. Speak over your mind. Speak over your future. Speak not according to what is, but according to what God has revealed. Faith speaks into the darkness until light appears. Faith also requires stillness at times, a quiet trust that rests in God's ability rather than trying to force outcomes through human effort. This does not mean being passive. It means being spiritually composed. It means holding peace in the midst of uncertainty, knowing that God is working even when you cannot see movement. Stillness is a spiritual discipline. It is the refusal to let anxiety run your life. It is the decision to anchor yourself in God's promises rather than in temporary circumstances. This stillness does not come naturally. It comes through intentional focus, prayer, and surrender. Your posture matters. Posture is not physical, it is spiritual. It is the way your heart stands before God. It is the level of openness, willingness, humility, and readiness you bring into your relationship with him. Some postures block blessings: pride, fear, bitterness, discouragement, complacency. Other postures attract blessings: gratitude, expectation, surrender, obedience, consistency. When your posture shifts, your spiritual atmosphere shifts. And when your atmosphere shifts, favor flows more freely. God is not asking you to strain for blessings. He is asking you to position yourself so you can receive them without resistance. Posturing yourself to receive also means staying spiritually awake. Opportunities can pass by those who are spiritually asleep, those who are distracted, overwhelmed, or disconnected from God's voice. God is always speaking, always guiding, always nudging. But the noise of life can drown out his whispers if your heart is not tuned to him. This is a season to quiet distractions, to prioritize your spiritual sensitivity, to listen intentionally, to pay attention to internal nudges, sudden clarity, unexpected ideas, or divine connections. These small moments are often indicators that God is positioning you for something greater. And then there is obedience. Faith without obedience remains dormant. Obedience is what activates what faith believes. Obedience is often the final step before breakthrough manifests. Sometimes God will ask you to do something that does not make sense. Something simple, something small, something humble. But that action becomes the key to unlocking the door he has prepared. Obedience is trust expressed through movement. Obedience says, God, I don't fully understand, but I am willing. And heaven responds to willingness. Disobedience, on the other hand, delays what God intends to release. Not because God is punishing you, but because you are not aligned with the flow of his direction. Alignment is everything in this season. Alignment ensures that when the financial doors open, you are standing in the right place with the right posture to step through them. Misalignment makes open doors look inaccessible. Alignment makes them unmistakably clear. Some of you have been praying for breakthrough while unknowingly holding on to patterns that contradict the very breakthrough you desire. Activating your faith may require a shift in habits, a shift in the way you handle money, a shift in how you manage time, a shift in how you steward your gifts, a shift in how you respond to challenges. Faith invites transformation. True faith will always ask something of you, not as a burden, but as preparation. Now, I want you to understand this with gentle clarity. Receiving is a skill. Many people know how to pray, but few know how to receive. Receiving requires openness. It requires humility. It requires trust. It requires the willingness to allow God to bless you even when you don't feel worthy. It requires letting go of guilt, shame, or feelings of inadequacy. Some people push blessings away because they believe they have to earn everything. But grace does not work like that. Favor does not work like that. God does not move according to man-made formulas. He moves according to purpose, promise, and love. Receiving requires room. God will never fill a space that is already occupied by fear, clutter, indecision, or stagnation. This is why he nudges you to release old things, old mindsets, old habits, old disappointments. He is making room for the new. You cannot receive with closed hands. You cannot receive with a heart that is clinging to what is familiar but no longer fruitful. Make room. Not just physically, but spiritually and mentally. Make room for ideas. Make room for guidance. Make room for increase. Make room for change. This is the season where God is inviting you to stretch, to expand beyond what you've known, to believe at a deeper level, to prepare with greater intentionality, because the doors are coming, the breakthroughs are coming, the shifts are coming, but your preparation determines your participation. God is not withholding anything from you. He is preparing you to handle what he is releasing with wisdom and stability. Even now, something in you knows that faith is rising again, that hope is being restored, that your posture is shifting. You can feel it. You can sense it. The heaviness you carried is beginning to lift. The doubt that clouded your vision is beginning to thin. The fear that tried to silence you is losing its grip. God is strengthening you internally so you can receive externally. He is preparing your spirit for increase. He is preparing your heart for abundance. He is preparing your mind for opportunities. He is preparing your hands for stewardship. You do not activate faith for God's benefit. You activate faith for your own. You do not posture yourself to impress heaven. You posture yourself to receive heaven's flow. And in this moment, heaven is responding to your willingness, your stillness, your preparation, your openness. All God needs is your yes. All he needs is your agreement. All he needs is your alignment. And as you activate your faith in this season, you will not just see doors open, you will walk through them with clarity, strength, and confidence. You will not just receive blessings, you will sustain them. You will not just experience breakthrough, you will embody it. As we bring this message to a gentle close, I want you to sit with the awareness that something has shifted within you. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like the soft turning of a key inside a locked door. Your spirit has opened, your faith has risen, and your heart has begun to align with what God has spoken over your life. You are not leaving this moment the same way you entered it. The word has settled, the assurance has settled, the peace has settled, and you are stepping forward with a calm confidence that the God who began the work is faithful to fulfill it. You have heard the call to expect, to prepare, to position yourself, and to believe again. Let these truths stay with you long after this message ends. Carry them into your thoughts when doubt tries to resurface. Carry them into your decisions when fear tries to stop you. Carry them into your prayers when weariness tries to whisper that nothing will change. You now know better. You know heaven is moving. You know doors are aligning. You know favor is locating you. You know development was never denial. Let this knowing become the quiet strength that guides your next steps. Take a moment to breathe and let gratitude rise in your heart. Gratitude for what God has already done, gratitude for what He is doing right now, and gratitude for what is on its way. Gratitude is a magnet for miracles. When you thank God for blessings you haven't even seen yet, you show Him that your faith is alive and active. Let your gratitude be the gentle worship that fills the atmosphere of your life, making room for the financial, spiritual, and personal breakthroughs that are heading toward you even now. And as you continue your journey, remember that God is not just opening doors. He is elevating you, shaping you, strengthening you, and aligning you with your destiny. You are stepping into a season of clarity, opportunity, provision, and supernatural unfolding. Nothing about this moment is ordinary. Nothing about your future is small. You are walking into a divine timeline crafted by a God who has never failed you and never will. Trust the process, honor the preparation, and keep your heart surrendered. Before you go, seal this moment with action. Like the video, subscribe for daily prayers and teachings, and write Amen in the comments to declare your agreement with heaven. And share one thing you're believing God for. Let your faith be seen, heard, and activated. You've stepped into alignment today, and great things are already being prepared for you.